Hello, Foxy listeners, and welcome to episode 235. We are in our new series of March talking all about my favorite topic. That's why I wrote the book on it, How to Collaborate. We're going to talk about collaborations that have happened, some that I admire, some that failed, what you can learn from both of those, and just having some fun diving into this really interesting topic. At least I find it interesting. So, on today's show, we're going to be talking about that famous movement that people all over the world have made with their lips. We're going to be talking about lip balm. So let's dive in. I'm Tanya Fox, and you're listening to Fox Talks Business Podcast. I started my career in the corporate world, but always played to my own tune and loved to think outside of the box. This didn't always serve me well with the bosses, so I made the decision to become an entrepreneur. And that little seed of entrepreneurial curiosity continued to grow as I branched out into retail, service, and franchise businesses. Now, I have been fortunate to have amazing successes in the last 2 decades, but they did not come without some really big failures and even bigger lessons learned. And that's why I started this podcast, not just to share the failures, but to show you how you can turn every failure into a success. We're going to hear from some amazing humans from around the world that are going to share their stories of the good, the bad, and the motivational entrepreneurial life has to offer. After all, life is too short to make all of the mistakes yourself, so why not learn from each other? And of course, we're going to have some fun, because as I always say, well, you know what? I'll tell you that at the end of the episode. So one of my favorite collaborations to talk about is Bonnie Bell and Dr. Pepper, or as most people know it, Lipsmackers and Dr. Pepper. Now, Dr. Pepper, I'm going to give you a lot of history here in a little bit of a short time, some just like interesting facts. So my husband is going to absolutely love this episode because he is full of all of these interesting facts. So Dr. Pepper actually was one of the first sodas to start, root beer actually being the first, which is one of my fan favorites. But Dr. Pepper started in 1885, and they are actually older than my husband's absolute favorite drink, Coca-Cola, by 1 year. So 88 years later, they started a partnership with the Lipsmackers brand. So Lipsmackers was actually originally started by Bonnie Bell. Now, Bonnie Bell was founded in 1927, and in 1973, they debuted their Lipsmackers brand. And 2 years later, in 1975, Lipsmackers embarked on their first flavor partnership, and they did it with Dr. Pepper. Now, what is so interesting about this is it was actually a handshake agreement between the CEO, Foots Clements for Dr. Pepper, and Bonnie Bell's founder, Jess Bell. And so it was just such an interesting take because Bonnie Bell or Lipsmackers wanted to reach a different target market. And so did Dr. Pepper. So they decided to combine together. Now, this isn't something that you can just go, oh, yeah, we're going to put the flavor in. Because one thing that I've learned in the years of doing research on this collaboration is it's actually really hard to put a flavor, especially something like Dr. Pepper that's such an iconic, that drink, whether you like it or don't, it has a very distinct flavor to it. So to keep that and adding paraffins and wax that are in a general lip balm is a hard thing to do. So it was amazing that they did it. And if you remember the old original version of Lipsmackers Dr. Pepper, it was like putting Dr. Pepper on your lips and having it sit there for a while. And the best thing about it was because of the makeup of both Lipsmackers and Dr. Pepper together, it gave you this really nice tint. It was like one of the first lip balms that tinted your lips a slightly brownish sort of tinge. So anyway, I geek out about this, I know, but so let's dive into it a little bit because why I want to talk about this is more so on the Bonnie Bell and Lipsmacker sides than it is on the Dr. Pepper because like I said, 1975 was when they started doing this partnership, this collaboration with Dr. Pepper. And it was only 29 years later in 2004 when they brought someone else on and started doing it with Starburst and Skittles. So this is something that, Lipsmackers and Dr. Pepper, it was working really well for both of them for a long time. Fact, over 45 years, this collaboration continued between the both of them. So in 2004, Lipsmacker started partnering with Starburst and Skittles. And as their company was growing, they started to realize that there was really something to this because they were not only able to reach their current audience, but by creating these partnerships and collaborations with other companies, they were being able to branch out and reach people who love them and turn those fans into their fans. So it was a really great way to sort of share audiences together. Remember that. Share audiences together because that's going to be key later. So in 2006, they partnered with Coca-Cola. Now, the collaboration between Lipsmackers and Coca-Cola was so successful that Coca-Cola actually named them their licensee of the year, which, if you follow all that kind of stuff, was a really big deal because there's a lot that goes into that. And if you have a husband like mine that is obsessed with Coca-Cola. I mean, everything. Our shower curtain is Coca-Cola. We have Tiffany phones and lamps, cookie jars, uh, sheets. Like, there's just so much stuff that Coca-Cola has branded with that getting a licensee of the year is a really big deal. So 2010, Lipsmacker started to partner with Disney and having those things come out. And in 2020, 45 years, that 45 years? 45 years after starting the collaboration with Lipsmackers and Dr. Pepper, it died. And it was really interesting to me to kind of see this happen because on all of the research that I can find, the only reason why it happened is because the licensing expired. Now, there was a lot of other stuff that happened. Lipsmackers and Bonnie Bell kind of got bought out by another company, Dr. Pepper. I mean, we all saw like different things happening in the world, but from all of the people that work at Dr. Pepper and at Lipsmackers, it really came down to the license expiring. And then so the collaboration just kind of ended. Um, in 2023, Lipsmackers turned 50 years old. And now they have collaboration partners with brand buddies like Hello Kitty, Crayola, Disney, Pixar, Coca-Cola is still with them, Marvel. There's so much that they've branched out to, but which when you hear these names, you think, "Oh my god, that would be amazing." Like, how amazing if you are sitting wherever you're sitting listening to this, or if you're watching me, because I'm actually recording this episode, how awesome would it be to go, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, Hello Kitty, Crayola, Disney, Marvel, like, yeah, I work with all of them." But this truly all started from them creating this one partnership with Dr. Pepper. And here's how we convert it to how you can use it. Because again, that's what I want this series to be about. How can we look at what these big brands have created and doing, tear it down and figure out how we can use it with us, with where you are right now, wherever that may be. And this is the biggest part of collaboration is looking at what these big models have done and really tearing it back down to their roots. So as I stated before, that this was them trying to reach a different audience. So do you have a product or service that you're trying to hit a new demographic? This could be older, younger, um, this could be a completely new genre that you want to go into if you're a service-based business and you're like, "Hey, like I'm a consultant, but I don't want to consult, with government anymore. I want to go into like factories or I want to go into specifically retail stores or, whatever the case may be." Are there different organizations that you can start creating a relationship with so that in the future you can create a collaboration? Now, if you've read my book, you will know that as I say, The relationship part is the most important part before you start launching into collaborations. And a lot of people try to do this backwards. And it can work. It 100% can work. But what creates these 45-year collaborations together is that initial relationship, is getting that other person that you wanna work with to understand that what is in your heart, what is in your objective is that together you're both growing, that you're not just trying to ride their coattails up or ride their brand up, and vice versa. You don't want somebody who's smaller than you just riding your coattails up and you're doing all of the work. That's not a collaboration. A collaboration is both of you having skin in the game. Um, so what I want you to do is I want you to take a moment today and think about, is there something that you have right now, whether that is a product or a service, that can be enhanced by something else? So let me give you some examples. If you have a product, it's super easy. So if you have a product, let's say you have a soap company. If you have a soap company, is there somebody that has a signature fragrance that maybe you can add to your soaps and you can partner with them so you're not having to create this all by yourself? If you are a luxury soap company that's making handmade soaps, is there somebody who has, say, grows flowers that you can collaborate with to have a specific flower that they grow that you can then use in your soap? Okay. So let's go to a different one because you might be like, well, that's great, but that doesn't help me at all. So let's say you're a service-based business. Let's say you are a travel agency. And so you're like, great, but I don't really have products to sell. So that's not really going to work with me. And it's a little bit, I know in travel agencies, it's a little bit different working together. But is there something that you can offer where you can use a product? So is there a place in your town, in your city that sells luggage or something that has to do with travel that you can collaborate with to be like, hey, we've got this really great package. You buy this trip, you get the luggage. You buy this adventure, you get a discount to this clothing store to purchase all of the stuff you're going to need. Want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro? We're going to be able to get you there and get you clothed all at the same time. So there's different ways that you can use what other people have to enhance something it is that you're offering. If you are a coach or a consultant, let's say you have a membership program or a course. I, for example, have Collab Club, which is my year-long program that entrepreneurs can come into. And I do a lot of this where I pull other people's services and brands in to help grow mine. So, how do I do that? I look at other people who have talents that I don't want to obtain. So, are there people that are really, really good at branding? I bring those people in to teach my group, which benefits me, right? Because I'm able to offer that portion of my course. And the person I'm bringing in gets to show their expertise and what it is that they do and offer it to a new target demographic. They're able to reach out into different areas. So I do this with branding. I've done this with trademarking. I've done this with social media. I've done this with website design. So I'm constantly looking for those people that I can partner with to be able to help them reach the audience that they want to reach while at the same time being able to offer more in my program to go out. So those are different ways that you can sort of take what somebody else's brand is, what somebody else is offering, and amalgamate it with yours. So this isn't just if you have a product and you want to add a flavor or a scent or whatever into this. Think bigger about this. Now, would it be lovely to start working with some of the huge big name brands? 100%, and I get it. But I want you to remember that having this list of brand buddies that Lipsmackers does, again, started with that one that they did for 29 years and really worked on it and figured it out and then brought others into the mix and said, you know what, let's reduplicate this. So when you're creating this type of collaboration where you're doing this sort of brand partnership, brand amalgamation, really concentrate on one and refine it. How can you make this work perfectly with them? How can you together figure out what is going to be the best bang for both of your bucks? And then, is there a way that you can bring more into the partnership that the two of you have together? Or is this something that maybe one or both of you can sort of launch out and create other wings of the same type of collaboration? This is the best way to start it because it's so easy to collaborate with those you've already established a relationship with, those that you've already worked with. And on the other side of it, it also allows you to sort of see, do I really want to work with this person? Is this person really going to understand that I need them to be a part of this for us both to grow, not just for them to grow? And that there's going to be work on both sides for that. So that's where collaborations really stand the test of time because no matter what you do, if you're making someone else do all of the work or they're making you do all of the work, you're not really going to want to go into that again because why would you? You want to have that joy, that person who's as excited to work with you as you are to them. That person who's like, "Oh my god, I have a new idea. Let's make this bigger. Let's make this better." Because that's how our events grow and establish. That's how our collaborations grow and establish. And that's how you go from one collaboration to working with some of the biggest brands that are out there. So sit down today and just write 3 names of people that you think, you know what? Maybe I could do something like this. Maybe I could talk to this brand or talk to this business, talk to this service provider, and see how we can work together to kind of create a collaboration. And always remember, if you are stuck on ideas, I have a discovery call. Let's hop on, book it. I'm going to put the link at the bottom of this episode and I'm going to help you come up with those ideas because I get that sometimes you're sitting there going, I have no idea how I could do this for my business. It's not going to work for me. I don't know who I would ever partner with. And it's really hard to get that going. There is no cost, no obligation. It's free. I love doing this. And the reason, to be blunt and honest, the reason I love doing this is because it helps me sort of work that muscle of being creative, of thinking outside of the box. So that's my gain for it. Your gain is you get all of these free ideas. So let's work together. If you're like, geez, I just don't know how this would work, book a discovery call. I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas so that you can get started because my goal is to get as many people seeing the beauty and the wealth that collaboration can bring to their businesses. And all it has to start with is asking one person, let's work together. So no matter what it is that you're doing today, whether you are going out to try to find that Dr. Pepper lip smacker, whether you're using some of the other hundreds of varieties that they have, or whatever your favorite one is, smack those lips together and let's start a conversation. And always make sure that you take time to have fun. Because as I always say, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?